Yeah, been in Ypsilanti since '67, so
Okay.
that's basically I'm from Ypsilanti.
Very much so, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Where are you from?
I'm from Taylor, Michigan, and
Oh,
then I moved to Gladwin, Michigan before high school, which
Okay.
is like kind of in the middle of the state.
I've actually had a couple listings down in Taylor before. So
Oh, yeah?
down there.
Yeah.
There's actually a lot of homes down there with big garages.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of car rides down there. Taylor, Tucky.
Exactly. That makes sense.
It's like Water Tucky. Waterford's kind of the same thing. So,
That all has to do with the automotive industries.
yeah.
They brought all the people up from the south to work in
Right, to work
the auto plants and originally in the bomber plants. And then they brought more people in to work in the car plants after the war, and everybody just kind of stayed.
Yeah. We got Dearborn too, so I mean you had the plant down there, so there's a lot of people. Taylor's super close to Dearborn. He's actually trying to show some four guys in houses, and Taylor is in Dearborn. There's really strict rules on garage size.
Really?
Yeah. So like anything new, you can't build over like a 2 or 3 car garage. You can't have like 220 outlets in it. You can't have, it can't look like you're going to work on a car. They don't want people working on their own cars. Yeah.
In their own house.
Yeah, in their own house.
Oh, okay.
So, but I don't know. As far as what questions you have for car condos? Did you have like something like laid out for question wise, or?
I mean, I just jotted down a few. It's kind of more like an outline for me than to, ask some really basic stuff and then kind of build off of that based on the responses. It's just going to be like,
so I guess we can start with what's a car condo?
Yeah, like that's a good one. I was going to say, like, where'd you get the idea? Why now? Like, why is now the time to do it?
Right. I mean, anytime's a good time to buy a car condo, but I mean, obviously in Michigan, car condos are great. And what's crazy is, we're the motor city. We should have had car condos here a long time ago because there's been other states building car condos for years. Minneapolis Motorplex that had, they built this, what, started in '08?
Well, Minneapolis is where I got the idea from for doing this. And they actually started in 2007, so I watched their progress, which was really interesting because it was the height of the recession. And they're selling car condos like it's popcorn. They're pulling these things up, and guys they're getting quite elaborate inside. We have pictures of some of the ones that are there. So it was really kind of interesting to watch that. And then I was kind of looking for a place to put my 2 cars. Because my wife gets one side of my garage, I get the other, but I got two cars and a snowmobile. I run out of room really quick.
Oh yeah.
So in order to find a place where I could work on a car, it's either find somebody's garage that I can rent at their house and be at their mercy, or try to find a building, which sometimes is pretty expensive. So, the car condo thing just seemed like a natural. And so I looked around the Detroit area. There is nothing. There was nothing at all. And so we spent a year going to car events and say, would you guys be interested in something like this? And the overwhelming answer was yes. Guys would really be interested in it. Of course, it's based on cost and location. And so we decided to go ahead and move forward with it. But our big problem was finding a location. So I found 20 acres in the Ypsilanti area. It was okay, but it was kind of out of the way. And I realized pretty quick it was too small.
Yeah.
Because 90% of people aren't, is there a track, is there any kind of test facility? And so that developed into finding a different location, which ended up, a guy suggested going out to the old bomber plant, hydromatic, Will Run. And so we couldn't do anything there until we finished tearing down the hydromatic plant, which was a year-long process. So that kind of took a year out of our project, because we really like to go into Willow Run. It looked like it was going to be a really neat facility, close to the expressway, a lot of history, and I like airplanes. So it just made sense for me to kind of hold off. Well, economy, other things happened. That site didn't work out. So we found another site that was 75 acres. That didn't work out because the township said absolutely no way in hell. They didn't want nothing like that there. They want strictly residential.
Uh-huh.
So I said, okay, so we started looking around a little bit more, and we found the Huron Valley, or Huron Township site, which is just off of 275 in Sibley. It was 312 acres. That allows us to do a lot more than we originally intended.
Mhm.
So now we have the car condos as well as a 2.5 mile road course that'll go along with it. And that was just the cat's meow. Because now we could build a facility that's state of the art for the Detroit area. They haven't had a new road course in a number of years. They tried doing it at the fairgrounds on 8 Mile, but that didn't work out. Too many residents and all kinds of troubles there. But where we're at, you're south of Metro Airport. There's no residents. The property's already zoned. It was just kind of a natural, and so that's how that all developed into that situation. So right now what we're doing is we're concentrating on the car condos to build those and get that up and running, and then we're going to go into building the road course. The road course can be pretty expensive, but I think once we get the car condos going and people start coming there, they start realizing what we want to do, we can start getting it built.
And it just doesn't stop at the road course either. I mean, talk about kart track and even indoor karting facility too that could be run by a different company. So I mean, it's really going to be a huge Motorplex complex. I mean, it's a big area.
Yeah.
It's a very large lot, lots of acreage. And also too, they want to do a 2.5 mile track, would actually be the largest road course in Michigan. So that's a huge benefit too. Especially being in the Motor City too, where manufacturers could use it as a test track. You got tons of car clubs that come out and do track days or whatnot. You could have Formula SAE events. They have it at MIS now, but it might even be a better facility for Formula SAE, and even NASA SEC events. So I mean, it could be a huge track facility, and then you've got all these car condos right next to it. So some of those teams could actually buy, or the shops that work on those cars could actually buy one of those car condos and have that as a separate satellite facility from their shop that they have some other place. They can keep tools there, they can keep all their track prep equipment there, like their alignment machines and their corner balancing machines and all that stuff too, so they can do fine tuning right at the track. And because a lot of times they have to travel out of state to do that kind of tuning. And a lot of times I was just talking to a shop the other day to work on a customer's car. I think it was, or it was a main event, or the big, the SEC or NASA, the really high-end race car. They actually rented the whole track for the whole day themselves, which cost thousands of dollars. Yeah. And they're out there doing all this test stuff, and they got to bring all their equipment with them. So if they had a car condo at this complex, they could do tons of testing. What's great is being a car guy and going out and testing my own car, you want to keep the same factors all the time when you're testing. So having that same track, knowing what their track times are and everything else, they can really get better data by having that close facility.
Right.
And then when we're talking about kind of what they're running out of space, same thing here. I mean, this is a 1,300 square foot garage, and I mean really I could have 3 cars in here comfortably, and all my tools and equipment and workspace and whatever. But if I start adding on cars, trailers, whatever, I need more space. And that's usually what happens with a car condo, because you can only build, and we actually sell homes with big garages, and townships only allow a certain amount of square footage for a garage. And it depends on the township too. Townships are different. Sometimes it can only be a 3-car garage. Sometimes you go to certain townships, it could be a 5,000 square foot garage. Yeah, you might not run out of space there, but the majority of people live in those areas where garage space is at a limit, and when they start running out of space, they have nowhere to go. So a car condo is the perfect thing to purchase, so they can keep their equipment. I mean, they could use it for extra storage. I mean, they could use it for whatever equipment. And it doesn't just have to be cars. It can be, they could have a wood shop. They could have a machining plant. Like you're saying that one guy wants to buy it for a machining facility. The she shed thing. I mean, women are buying these things too. Setting them up for entertaining.
I get more response out of women at car shows on the car condos, because it gets all the stuff out of their garage and away from home. They can park in the wintertime in the garage, And the guys can have their cars or motorcycles or whatever at a separate location, and they can have their buddies over, they can spill beer on the floor, and all you gotta do is squeegee it down to the floor drain, and it's done. So it has, that's why a lot of women are interested, because they get their garages back, they get their house back. And also, a lot of guys, they have, you got a couple, 3 kids, that means you got 6 bicycles.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, you don't have to worry about one of your kids accidentally running, their bike down a $10,000 paint job, and what are you gonna do? But with the car being at a separate location, now it's safe, they can work on it whenever they want. They got 24/7 access to it. They can take it all apart, leave their tools there, walk out, come back, and the tools are all still there.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody else has access to their space. So that's what makes it kind of convenient.
And if they want to visit with their buddies, they've got all these other car condos in that same facility with like-minded people. And if somebody's got a question about, hey, I'm trying to work on my car, I'm trying to weld this, I can't get this right, there might be somebody right next door that's good at that kind of thing. So you can converse back and forth. Meets, like car meets and stuff like that. You don't have to drive a long distance to get to these things. You can have one right at the car condo. Pull your car right out of the garage, park it right there. People can walk by, check out the car. So even just in trying to move, your hot rod around, if you've got like an extremely expensive car that you wipe down with a diaper all the time, it's every time you get it on the road, you're taking a chance with scratching it up or chips or whatever. All the car shows are there, or majority of the car shows are there. You just pull out of the garage, show it, and whatnot. And it just makes things a lot easier.
One of the neat things is a lot of guys have multiple cars. So
Right.
if you go to a car show, you only take one car. If we do a car show at the car condos, you open up your garage and now all your cars
Yeah,
are at
it's
the
all
car
right
show.
there.
Yeah, so they're all right there. So it makes it kind of neat. It's a little bit different. So, one of the things we want to do is we want to have a lot of car events. So that way, guys can show off their cars, they can show off their car condo. I mean, let's face it, all those guys like to show off what we have. I mean, that's just our nature, that's what we do. So we'll have events where guys can open up their garages, they don't have to necessarily let anybody in, but people can go in or look in and see, what the different guys did differently in each of the car condos. So it could be just plain, it could be pretty extravagant. I mean, I've seen guys with marble floors and staircases and tile, marble tile everywhere. I mean, your imagination is unlimited to what you can do to the inside of one of these things. So in our case, what we're doing is basically we supply a box, and it's a pretty nice box.
Yeah.
And the guys can do whatever they want to the inside. So if you can afford to do more, that's great. If you can't, and you just want a place for your car, it's a perfect opportunity. It's a great starting place. And you get a couple guys get in together, you cut the cost in half. Now it really is affordable. So, I mean, our base unit, our smallest base unit is under 80,000. So you get 2 guys, that's 40,000. You can't build a garage on your house for $40,000 that has air conditioning, heating, floor vents, floor drains, and a bathroom in it.
Not to mention the access to the track.
And access to the track and all the other like-minded people that are in the area.
Right.
So that's it. It's a community. It's an automotive community. And you don't really have that in your own garage, in your own neighborhood. And it's always kind of neat. I mean, like if the guy builds the machine shop there, I mean, would it be neat to be able to take a part off your car, go over to this guy and say, hey, can you make this? The guy whips it out and you walk back to your garage.
Or if you're trying to make something, you need something to test fit. There might be a car in that car condo complex that, hey, you don't have to travel or send the part someplace. You can just try to use somebody else's car that's working on that project in the car condo complex.
Yeah, so it ends up being a great big community of like-minded people, and it can be men or women. Like I said, there are women that are pretty interested, and I know some car ladies out there that they're pretty stout people. They got some pretty nice vehicles.
Yeah. They can use it for all kinds of things. I mean, the whole man cave thing is going away because there's women that want space to themselves too.
Right.
So, they're buying some of these car condos for entertaining space. They can put in a kitchenette or a kitchen. I mean, they could do cooking. I mean, they could do, they could just have stuff catered there or whatever, but they could set up like all kinds of events there. If they've got a business or whatever, they can entertain there. It's kind of unlimited, or whatever hobbies they have. It's the space is kind of, we call it a car condo, but it's so dynamic. You can use it for pretty much anything. I mean, it's the same thing as you use your basement for. People build out a basement and finish it off and use it for a bunch of different purposes. I mean, shoot, there's like CrossFit. CrossFit is huge, and people are buying industrial units that basically the same thing as a car condo and put in their CrossFit businesses. I mean, CrossFit could come in and do some of these things. It'd be nice if you can work on your car and walk down a couple car condos down and actually work out.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing is it could be. And with Heritage Farms, we want to do up to 500 units or so around that. So I mean, that's a lot of units and a lot of different diversity you could have in there. I mean, it could be. You could get pretty much anything in there and get anything done. Spend all your time there if you want to.
One of the neat things was I talked to Bruno, who owns the one up in Minneapolis, and they found that as they were finishing up the last few buildings, that the big thing all of a sudden was everybody wanted a wine cellar in their car condos. So now, when they were building the car condos, they would put a hole in the ground, and they'd have either maybe a glass top to it or something, and you'd go down a spiral staircase and there'd be a wine cellar in there. I mean, you don't know what's gonna...
Or a humidor.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of things. So, I mean, they evolve as they go. And we want to have the flexibility to be able to do that. So we can, if we find that there's more of a need for one thing or another, or somebody wants a wine cellar in their own unit or whatever, we're able to do that. So we have enough flexibility in our plan that we can accommodate whatever anybody wants, which is really pretty cool. It's a really neat thing.
There's not really much of a difference too between the car. I mean, as far as building and the physical building itself, there's really not much difference between that and like an industrial complex where there's a bunch of industrial units with big doors and you can build them out any way you want on the inside. Mostly it's all businesses in there. But that's what we got. We get requests all the time for, is there a garage I can rent out someplace or buy, or can I just buy a property with a garage? I mean, it's a huge demand for this. People need the space, and they've got a lot of toys, and it can definitely fill that need.
And we also like to say we're 20 minutes from everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're 3 miles south of I-94 and 275. So you go 20 minutes in any direction on the expressways, and you can cover a lot of area. So it makes it really convenient for guys, whether you're living in Ann Arbor, if you're living downriver, if you're even up in Pontiac or Northville area, or actually even down in Toledo. I mean, 20 minutes down the expressway, you cover a lot of area. And as long as you're within that 30-minute range, more people will come to you. And so, being that we're that close to expressways, once you get on the expressway, it's nothing to gain.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it pretty cool.
Also, being close to you're right by the airport, pretty much. So anybody
You fly in.
Yeah, so you can fly in. So say for instance, you're a business person. You live out of state, but you do a lot of business in Michigan. You fly into Detroit Metro all the time, and you're always getting hotel rooms. And I mean that can stack up quick, especially if you're coming in 2-3 weeks out of the month or whatever into Michigan, and you're spending all that money on hotel rooms. You could take that money, and it'd probably be, just a guess, it'd probably be half as much money a month if you spent that on a loan for one of these car condo units. And you'd actually own it, and you could build it out however you want on the inside. So you could put a bedroom in there, you could put a kitchen in there, you could do whatever you want up on the mezzanine, and then actually have a place for a car or toys or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a car enthusiast, or even just for your business itself, you could have stuff in there and fly into the airport, take a taxi there, you've got all your stuff at the car condo.
Or we can pick you up.
Yeah. Hey, do we have the service?
We'll have a service. We'll end up going over to the airport, pick people up and bring them back. So that's not an issue.
Yeah.
We could do that. It's pretty close.
And there will be a clubhouse. So, and there'll be, obviously be ground people, grounds people at some point too. take care of certain things, because it is a condo. I mean, it's like a, it's just like if you buy a home condo, you've got your dues, and the dues pay for certain things for the property, and mostly it's all on the outside, because in a condo, you actually own the interior of the building.
Right.
Same thing with a car condo, you own the inside of that building, and then the association owns the outside and takes care of the outside. So, even if the ground maintenance and outdoor maintenance and light bulbs and whatever maintenance there is for the outside, taxes and all other stuff. That's the same thing. What's nice is you don't have to worry about the outside. You just worry about what you've got on the inside of it.
Right.
Pay your dues and got somebody to take care of all
The
that.
rest is taken care of.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I know you mentioned a clubhouse for owners. Is there anything else that you were planning on in addition to the condos and the racetrack and the complex?
Just the clubhouse, and the clubhouse details are, it's gonna be a big area, so you can do.
The clubhouse is 4,000 square feet.
Okay.
And it'll have an office in there, there'll be a small meeting room, catering style kitchen, so we can do events there, maybe weddings or parties or whatever. And it leads out into the back, would be 2 double glass doors, and so we can bring a vehicle inside the building. So if you had, say you had an OEM wanted to show off to some other manufacturers a new vehicle that they're going to produce, or somebody's got parts on a car, they could actually bring it in, do a private showing, and have a car inside. There'll also be a fireplace in there, and then it leads off into the back to a patio, and the patio will actually overlook the track. So you can sit out there when we're having an event on the patio, and you'll be able to see the cars as they pass by, and it's kind of a straight that goes past there, and then it's a pit off. So the guys have to slow down to go into the pits. So it's really kind of neat. So you can get kind of an overview of the track from the clubhouse. And of course we have condos that are facing the clubhouse, facing the track as well. So they also have a view of the track.
Right.
So those are kind of a little bit more expensive on that side of the condo building, but yeah, it makes it pretty neat. So we could use the clubhouse for a variety of things. We can use it for car shows, we can use it for weddings and parties. Our members can use it as well. And then there's a nominal fee for obviously cleaning it up and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You got to draw a line somewhere. But it's pretty economical to use. It's just another perk of being in that complex and in that community, and it's really kind of neat. And then eventually what we want to do is, we mentioned wine cellars earlier, is my wife wants to put a wine cellar in the basement of the clubhouse, so all the ladies can come over and they can have a social night.
Kind of a spot for everyone.
Yeah, so if they want to go down there and have a couple of glasses of wine or do whatever women do, and when they get together, then they have that opportunity. So they're not left out of this whole process. And then eventually we want to put a swimming pool in there and some other things. So we're kind of making a country club kind of atmosphere based with automotive and the racing. So it's going to evolve into a lot of different things as we go. It's pretty unique complex.
Yeah.
So
go
ahead.
So as far as sales go too, I mean, we're taking deposits now. So it's just the first phase. It's a $500 deposit, refundable. Basically, what we need right now is a certain amount of deposits for the investors to give the green light, and then once we have that, we can start on the whole process of getting construction started and everything else, but and the property acquired and all that. But and as far as sales go, there's quite a few different sizes. You've got everything from 525 square feet, which that's the one that they range between 78,000, just a little over 78,000 to just a little over 86,000, depending on where in the complex they are, like track size or expensive, whatever. Then they've got the 600 square foot, 700 square foot, 900 square foot, 1,050 square feet, and 2,400 square feet. What's cool is the way the buildings are going to be built is the walls are not load bearing, so you could actually combine units and make whatever size requirement that you need, if we have those available. But we're going to do it in phases, so first phase, second phase, third phase, and go on from there. But eventually, and I have about, I mean, the goal is, up to 500 units. So we've got plenty of space. And
So there's 17 buildings in total right now that we've got in the main plan. So that would be 522 car condos. And then also we're gonna have a maintenance building that our maintenance people will be able to work out for both maintenance of the car condos and the road course.
Right.
But also will be able to do indoor storage. So if you're a member of the car condos and you have a car hauler, car trailer, snowmobile trailer, an RV, we'll have indoor storage for it. And again, it's a nominal fee for doing that, but it'll be indoor storage. So now you have all your toys in one location. So you don't have to go over here to get your trailer and go over here to get your car and go over here to do something else. It's all in one location. So you have your car condos, you have your storage facility for your trailer, your RV, whatever you have. You have entertainment in there. We have the central area is a park area, so we'll have kind of like a small lake on both sides. So I mean, it's just a really cool facility once it gets all put together.
As far as dues go, what was the because I know dues they're different per square foot.
Yeah, basically what we have an association fee. So the association fees run from $105 a month to $480 a month. Again, that's based on how much square footage you have.
Yeah.
So if you have a bigger place, obviously you pay more. If you have a smaller place, you pay less. And the same thing with the taxes. We divide the taxes up amongst all the people, all the members in the building, and you pay for your percentage of the building. So that way, if you have a 2,400 square foot condo, you're going to be paying more than the guy that has 525 square feet.
Yeah.
So I mean, it just makes sense to do it that way.
Sense.
And then all the members pay their own electrical and their own gas. We take care of the water and sewer. So it's pretty economical in the long haul because the building is very heavily insulated. We're using almost 18 inches of spray insulation in the ceiling, and then there's insulation in the walls. So your utility bills, if they're $25 a month, I'd be surprised for gas. And depending on what you're doing inside for electrical, I mean, if you're welding every day, obviously the cost is going to go up.
Yeah.
But for the average guy, I bet you the electrical cost is probably not going to be more than $25 or $30 for electrical. And that's with the air conditioning or heat, whatever the case. And all the floors are insulated. So the whole thing is insulated very, very well. So it keeps the noise down from the airplanes going over and from the track, and as well as efficient. So it's very efficient to own.
Which is another benefit on Heritage over other Heritage Farms over other car condo complexes that we've looked into is most of the time you get just an empty shell. There's no insulation, there's drywall, you've got to do everything to it. With Heritage Farms, what's nice is that I mean, you get pretty much everything outfitted. The only thing you don't have is like a mezzanine and then the build out of what you want in your mezzanine, putting into the bathroom, it's fully insulated, drywall, and the electrical's there and whatever, but there's also going to be basics of things and you can add on to that. I mean, the wholesale staff, John, developer, I mean, we're all car enthusiasts, so we're, this is actually a passion of ours, not just out there to, make a buck. It's, we've been working hard on this for years, trying to get this thing going, and it's now coming to light. So all we need is those those people to sign up for those deposits, get the green light on this thing going, and start breaking ground. I mean, just more and more we'll start selling and selling. So it's going to be an awesome site once it starts going and the building starts.
I was talking to a potential buyer yesterday, and we were talking on the phone, and he definitely wants a 30 by 30 unit. He wants it on trackside. And so we were talking, joking back and forth a little bit. He says, "You're a car guy, aren't you?" I says, "Yeah." That's how all this started. He says, I can tell. So, it goes out. I mean, everybody understands what we're doing, and they understand that we're looking for car people. We're not looking for guys that necessarily have Lamborghinis, Maseratis, and Ferraris. We're looking for the regular guys that got a street rod, a Corvette, maybe a Porsche, anybody. We don't care. I always tell guys that I don't care if you race lawnmowers. you know, if that's your passion and you need a place, we can help you out. So we don't care what you're doing. So we don't care if it's airplanes, cars, boats, whatever you want. You know, there's a spot for you here at Heritage Farms.
And we'll have affordable, there's gonna be commercial loans, and normally with a commercial loan, you gotta put 30 to 40% down, but there's, I mean, as far as like the, say for instance, the $78,000 one, yeah, you gotta put 30 or 40% down, but the monthly payment's gonna be extremely cheap. So yeah, you gotta come up with some cash first, but we'll have some, and we're working on some other, hopefully we can find some other loans that can actually be less down, so we can get some other people in here that don't have a lot of liquid funds up front. But we will have some good deals on that too. And if you think about, you know, especially with a loan, you know, it's not like a car you got to pay off in 5 years. This is a piece of real estate, so it spans out. You can go 15 years, 30 years, or whatever. Yeah. So the price there, the price per month is actually going to be extremely cheap. It's going to be less than a car payment. You know, for a garage facility that you can purchase, and then you can resell it if you want to, or you could even lease it out if you wanted to. So you could actually, you know, you're going to get a return on this, you know, on the investment.
Yeah, it's not going to be wasted money. So as these gets developed and as this whole campus gets developed, these condos are going to get really more expensive. And so if you buy into it now, the amount that you have invested now is going to go up. So you're not going to be losing any money. And whether you sublease it, whether you will it to your family, whether you sell it later down the road, you're not going to be losing anything on it at all.
Well, it depends on how much you put into it. I mean, a guy that puts $1 million into the interior of it, he's going to get a bunch of that back. So
you never know.
On the building itself, on the initial price and whatnot, but you know, if you start putting in extravagant stuff that's very unique, I mean, that kind of investment you're probably not going to get back. But it all depends on what how they build it out of the interior. But I see a lot of people keeping these just kind of basic. You know, they'll put a mezzanine, kind of a hangout area. They'll have an area for their cars, their tools, and everything else. You know, just like this garage here. I mean, it's
if they just want some tools and a couch and a mini fridge, you know, that's
absolutely.
That's perfect.
Hang up a flat screen on the wall and watch the ball game and
then head out and race around for a while.
Exactly.
Yeah. So if I'm understanding correctly, you kind of hatched the original plan on, all right, I want to do this. Now, after that point, what made you want to kind of assemble this team specifically? Like, what about Brian? What about?
Well, actually, you know, things evolve. So basically, I started out on my own, and you know, I had this wild idea, and then all of a sudden, I decided to run with it. And then I met Brian. Actually, came to. We have a warehouse in Ypsilanti where we store cars. It's kind of a warehouse deal. And then we do an open house. And then Brian came to the open house and said, hey, you know, I'm starting this business with Gearhead Homes. And, you know, it just kind of clicked. You know, I mean, what I'm doing and what he's doing is basically the same thing. You know, so, you know, it was just a natural group to put together. And so over the last year or so, it's really kind of developed in a little bit more. So now we've been doing events together. So we have, we're doing the Concourse de Elegance here at the end of July. We're going to be going to the cruise on Hines Drive Cruise. We'll have a booth there. And then we want to do a car show together. So I mean, there's a lot of things that will start to evolve where we'll be working together. And it actually promotes us both. So maybe not everybody's interested in a car condo. Maybe that doesn't fit their need, which is fine. And then that's where Brian would come in handy, because maybe he knows of a house in his group that fits the need for that individual. You know, maybe they have to have a house with good schools, and nice garage, or whatever. And then Brian can help them out on that end. So we can complement each other as to what we're doing. We basically have the same idea. So we're just doing it a little bit differently, but it just goes together. And with his marketing skills and contacts in the real estate market, I mean, why would you not go to get it together? So I mean, it just seems like a natural to us.
We're basically handling the marketing aspect and the sales aspect. So basically, you know, besides, I mean, John's out there trying to, he's kicking the pavement and trying to sell the car condos also. But, you know, with my staff, you know, we're out there also as a sales team for Heritage Farms Car Condos, and we also can handle the marketing. We've done graphics and everything else, and we're putting together, our marketing manager puts together the graphics for our flyers and our emails and everything else. So you know, we're doing email blasts, we're doing everything it takes to get the word out there. We've got a website at gearathomes.com where we actually have listings. We actually have each car condo listed on the website so they can see the specific details, the price of it, and contact us directly with any questions about it or to purchase one. So they can go specifically right to the website and see all the information. We have, you know, we're trying to load more information as we go to the website to answer more questions that we're getting too. And another thing that John and I are working on is getting renderings of each individual size of car condo so you can kind of see the inside of it in a you know, kind of a 3D computer rendering, so you can get an idea of how your stuff will fit, and we'll add dimensions in there, height, the width, the depth, and everything else. So they can say, well, yeah, I can deck this out with you know, a workbench and all this other stuff. And we also have, we're working with companies too that can build out the interior of the units themselves and do the mezzanine. So if somebody wants a complete custom setup with benches and a mezzanine built with a kitchenette and, you know, even the place to, you know, pull a couch or whatever. If they need a little living space set up, we can also get all that set up for them too. So.
Right. So where do you guys go to make sales? Like, how do you find potential customers, I suppose?
Yeah, well, right now what I'm doing is I hit a lot of car shows. I'll do probably close to 80 car shows this year.
Wow.
And so I have some information out by I take my card, which kind of draws people in. So they'll come by, we'll have flyers out, and of course we're there with our shirts and hats and that kind of thing. And so that's how I get a lot of the stuff that's going on for me. And we hand out flyers at car shows and just basically talking to people and getting the word passed on. And of course, I'm an older guy, so I'm learning social media, and so that's all kind of new to me. And so we're getting into the social media stuff. So we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and whatever else is out there. So we get the word out that way. And then Brian, through his contacts, through the real estate side of it.
Well, we also do, as far as Gear at Homes goes, we do tons of marketing, a lot of social media marketing. Our Facebook page, we've got tons of followers on that. Our website, we do Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. We have all those social media sites, and we're very active on it too. And we blast out information on these constantly. We'll share from our websites to all our social media the listings that we put into the car condos, so they can go to the website, check out all the information. We also are very active with events too, from races, the car shows, we were just at the SEMA town hall meeting 2 nights ago, and or last night, and I mean that's a huge gathering of a lot of different shops and businesses. They're in the aftermarket automotive industry, distributors, whatnot, that go. There's 220 people at the Roush Museum. At Autorama, we do a booth at Autorama every year, so we actually have a Gear at Homes booth set up, and John always comes out. We always have all the car condo stuff out there too, so we're advertising both. So a lot of different events, and when we go to show a house, the first thing we show is the garage. So and then we go into the house.
Yeah.
So that's and being the Motor City, that's a huge demand around here, and there's a lot of inventory. There's a lot of homes with big garages decked out that you can hang out in at the same time, because I mean it would kind of stink to just throw your car in a corner of the garage someplace, put a cover over it, you don't see it for 6 months out of the year.
Exactly.
Where if you've got an awesome garage or a car condo, you can sit there and hang out and have a beer and watch the game while your cars are in display right next to you.
Right.
So,
And then it's temperature controlled.
Yeah,
it's all
temperature controlled, insulated.
You don't have to worry about it at all.
Yep, cars are upkeep, maintenance, everything else. And also too, being in there, because a lot of times too, when you've got a garage and you've got the car stuff back there, winter comes along and you completely forget about it. And then,
Yeah.
then spring comes along and I'm like, oh no, I gotta get the car ready, I gotta get the car out, I gotta do all this stuff. And then, you know, it's a month later and you're like, I missed a month of summer and whatnot. But if you're actively in that space with the vehicle, it's, you know, out of sight, out of mind, you know, insight, you know,
Right.
on top of your mind. So
Mhm.
it's, it even helps just in keeping things going and just enjoying your vehicle.
Mhm.
You know, especially in the, you know, the limited time of the year that we get to enjoy
Right.
our vehicles.
Yeah. So when you go to these car shows and such, and you kind of pitch the idea to people who approach you, how would you describe like the reaction generally? How do they usually take it?
Well, usually the people look at us like, I've never heard of that before. You know, and like I mentioned earlier, that ladies are the big ones. They come over and they nudge their husband, hey, look at this. You know, this is something you should be interested in.
You drive the house.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the mainstay. We get people to look at it, and at first they look at the flyer and they don't quite understand what they're looking at. And if they look at it long enough, I'll walk over to them and then ask them if I can help them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start explaining it to them, and then all of a sudden you can see like the light bulb goes on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get it. And you know, and most generally everybody says, what a cool idea. You know, how did you ever think of it? And I tell them that, you know, I stole the idea from somebody else because, you know, it's not my idea. But yeah, so it's very receptive. I have some guys obviously that, oh, you know, I can't afford that, or, you know, I got a garage at home. Well, okay, fine. You know, I'm not pressuring you to buy it. I mean, it's here. If you're interested, you know, I'll answer whatever questions you have. If you're not interested, that's fine. You know, not everybody's into doing this. I mean, obviously it's a big commitment. It's actually another piece of property that you own. So the amount of people that are interested in that are specific. And so we try to deal with those folks. I mean, like I said, 90% of the time, everybody says, wow, what a cool idea.
Yeah.
And that's probably the main reaction I get on it when I go to the shows and stuff. They look at it and and then the track, the way we have the track laid out, they are just ecstatic about the track. Any of you guys.
I can't wait for the track. I'm out there all the time.
Yeah. So, you know, the big thing too is they ask us, well, are you going to be able to do drag racing there? And I said, well, we can't do quarter mile because we just don't have the space. But we do have enough room to do an 1/8 mile, which is pretty good. You'll get a pretty good idea what's going on in an 1/8 mile.
Oh, yeah.
So we can do that. We can do the road racing. We can do open wheeled cars, sports cars. The parking lot is going to be 50 acres of paved parking with no white poles in it and stuff. So we can
Great
do
for like autocross.
autocross racing. So what I call parking lot racing. And then we have enough space too, like we had mentioned earlier, that there's a possibility of either doing maybe an indoor go-karting track that has a sports bar involved there, or we could do a museum. I've been approached by a couple different people that want to actually relocate a museum to this. This would
Yeah, well, with so much automotive history around this area.
yeah, so I mean, this complex could end up growing into being quite unique for the Michigan area. So yeah, it was. And to answer your question, yeah, the response has been pretty good.
It's close to downtown Detroit. I mean, like I said, it's centrally located everywhere, so I mean, it's going to be easy to get to from a lot of major cities. You know, Plymouth, Ann Arbor, Detroit. So you said even down to Toledo, it's pretty quick too.
Right.
And especially if you're using the track. I mean, if you got a car condo there, you can come to the track and do an event, and then take your car over to the car condo, hang out in the morning, and leave.
Yeah, no, make a whole day, yeah.
Yeah, with a 2.5 mile track, I mean, we're going to get people from all over.
Yeah.
In Ohio, I mean, people are going to travel from all over to come
And
race on that track.
Well, when we were at Autorama, I had a guy come up to me that races go-karts, and now he has to go down to Indiana, I think it was, for a major go-kart track.
Yeah.
And he said, there's 100 guys that would go to here in a heartbeat if we just built it. So
It's right there for them.
it's right there. I mean, it's a big market area, and they got nowhere to go. So we could fill a niche, and we want to be able to have the complex so we can do a lot of different things we can set it up to be versatile, as versus to being just a road course, just a drag course,
Yeah.
whatever. So that way we can accommodate a greater variety of people and keep the thing busy. And that's the main thing for us, is keeping it busy.
Mhm.